I actually thought Dorgu played well, and I thought Xerxes did quite well, and I thought De Ligt did quite well. But no, we didn't win, so no. I don't think bloody Madison should be in there. I mean, I've seen your team of the week, tap-in merchant throwing his darts. Oh God! But I know we're in a bad space, but part of me would rather be losing than winning that game. The reaction from bloody Expressions and Spurs and everyone, I'm like, oh my God. If we'd have won that game, I'd have gone, oh, it was okay. I mean, oh God, some of them are acting like they've won the bloody trophy, which, well, to be fair, they don't know what it's like to win a trophy. So, get them one made for that, I think.
Hey, Mark, you sounded a little bit bitter to this morning, man.
Very bitter. Right? Yeah, very bitter. Pint of bitter.
Listen, right. You can understand their reaction because they ain't won a game for ages either, right? Yeah. There were some people calling in the muddied derby, right? The two teams that are in positions that everybody in the league are just still stunned about, right? And Madison, let's start with him. All right, you're right. He was a tap-in, but he was heavily criticised by Roy Keane, right? Man United legend, of course, and he answered his critics. He got the winning goal.
I don't know. I mean, I was like, you know what it's like when your team concedes and you see someone off doing a celebration and you might be saying some stuff that you probably wouldn't normally say. And I was like, I didn't really get what he was going for, because I'm like, you've had a really bad season. Spurs were having a bad season. Your highlight of the season was going to the darts, and he's there scoring a bloody tap-in and he's shushing people. So I had to, when I'd calmed down at about midnight last night, I went looking at what it was. And apparently it was to take a pop at Roy Keane. But Roy Keane had basically said, anybody who thinks Madison's coming back and inspiring that team to top six is crazy. Well, he's right. So for Madison to go, shh, because he scores a tap-in against the worst Man United side in Premier League history. Look, if Spurs fans want to celebrate that and Madison want to celebrate that, that's the difference between a Madison and an Odegaard, or a Madison and a Phil Foden. It's that's what Roy Keane's basically saying, is that I think Madison has the potential to be better than he is, but that's the criticism. Whether he played well or not yesterday, Spurs don't get what they paid for out of him because he's inconsistent, isn't he? But I thought he played okay yesterday. But I mean, I don't think you can start shushing Roy Keane, because you need to listen to what he actually said.
Well, listen, it weren't the greatest of games, when it comes to, play and stuff like that. It was a very tense game. And I know, United obviously looking at the bench, there's all teenagers on there.
Victor Lindelof was babysitting.
Well, I've got to ask you a question, Mark, yeah? Are you starting to get a little bit worried about Ruben Amorim? His record so far is horrendous. When you think he's come in 8 losses, I think 4 draws or 4 wins. I mean, but 8 losses in the Premier League. If this was any other manager, I mean, he's come in and he's coming as the guy that's going to fix everything and he's going to be the guy in that. But if this was anybody else, they'd be under some serious pressure right now. He doesn't look to me like he's improved any player. I can't think of a player that I'm looking at and thinking, wow, he's way better than he was before. And you're then seeing players like Anthony going out on loan. He scored again yesterday. That's 3 and 3 for Anthony. Right, even Rashford looked a lot more livelier. Then he sent these 2 guys away, and you're so short now in those attacking areas with Ahmad going down. There's still the issues of the tactics. I don't know, and especially when you look across at Everton and see what David Moyes is doing since he's come in, and even the Wolves manager, even though they lost yesterday, the improvements he's made. Are you getting a bit worried?
I think all those points, and there's many of them, are good. I mean, look, I think in relation to Rashford and Anthony actually scored in his first 3 games for United, so it's not like. And also, as you know, with Arsenal, when that Adebayor for Man City running down and sliding in front of your fans, it's players inspire themselves, don't they, when they move, and you have to ask why they weren't doing that previously. Anthony and Rashford were crap at United, and that's on them. But I think going back to the main point about Amorim, the results are terrible. They're really bad, and they have to be scrutinised. I think at Everton, Moyes has done a good job, but there are a certain set of players playing a certain brand of football that they're all comfortable with. And I think that's the big question, is why should Amorim go back to a system that these players are obviously used to? But I put that on the owners. I mean, you're in a similar situation at Arsenal, Chelsea are as well. The lack of action in January probably screws the rest of our season up now that Ahmad's injured and all these injured players are there. And we didn't replace Anthony or Rashford. That's the problem. Letting them go is fine, but not replacing them's the problem. The biggest issue, though, is that the extremities of the styles of football that Man United go from, like from Mourinho to Ollie, totally different. Ollie to Ten Hag, totally different. Ten Hag to Amrim, totally different. And these players aren't very good, but in fairness, every time there's a change, it's a massive change. And this is probably the biggest change we've ever had, because we've always played a back four. So now we're doing this 5 or 3 at the back. So I look at Ineos in November and I go, did you not see this happening? Like, you've brought a manager in season with a style of football that is so different, and he's stubborn. He's played it all through his career. So he's not going to go, oh, let's get results like Arteta did at the start. Then you don't really give him any players. Well, you give him a left back who actually is probably our best player at the moment now. So I think it's bad, and I think it's understandably bad. I think the results have gone too far, but I think the blame has to go yet again with the owners, who it's almost like, getting this hipster manager and thinking he's just going to make them play like Sporting. And that's what scares me, is when you've got owners like that, because every United fan was looking at it going, this is exciting, but he's going to need at least $500 million as quick as possible to get those players in. So look, it's natural Amrim's going to get the pressure, but I actually think it's expected. In hindsight, they should have kept Ten Hag till the summer and then made the change. But as you know, the media, the fans would never have put up with that. Every week it was a bad result, it would be Ten Hag out. But I just think we've got to get through to the summer and see if this ownership has any money. Because if it hasn't, I'm actually, my big worry, Robbie, is that next season we'll be doing the same, because you, Chelsea and everyone else, you're not going to stand still. You're going to go again. And if we can't get rid of these players and bring better players in, we are where we deserve to be. We deserve to be where we are in the league.
But I could put the question another way as well. I think it's 1 year since Ineos came in, nearly exactly 1 year. What do you think of them? Or do you trust in them?
Well, fair play to Spurs. I don't really get involved in politics of other clubs until you see it. And to see them protesting about Levy, etc., fair play. I didn't know they were that angry, but it's fair play. Fans have got to take responsibility for their own clubs. And I think it's time Man United fans did again, because Ineos have come in, they've sacked loads of people. The money we saved from sacking people wouldn't even pay Casemiro for 6 months. We've got charities being cut too. We're raising ticket prices for the worst ever Man United side in Premier League history. They didn't spend money in January. They got rid of 2 wingers. Ahmad's out injured. We've got 1 winger left. The Europa League is like golden egg. If you win the Europa League, you're into the Champions League, because we're not going to do it through the league. So to not take that risk like Villa have and Spurs have to a certain extent with Tell, I just think, look, the bottom line is the Glazers own the football club and Ineos work for the Glazers. So, yeah, I'm not happy about it.